A standardized test is any form of test that requires all test takers to answer the same questions or a selection of questions from common bank of questions in the same way and that is scored in a standardized or consistent manner, which makes it possible to compare the relative performance of individuals. Standardized testing can be traced back to the early Chinese dynasties. Originally, the purpose for standardized testings were for Chinese government officials to adequately pick different positions to be held in their government. In the Western world, for standardized testing, you notice that many of the Greek developers wanted a Socratic method for testing their students. So this is when we develop more of the essay topics, more of the research, more of the multiple choice topics as well. All right, now fast forwarding standardized testing to the Industrial Revolution, what we see is an easy fix to basically examine large groups of children at one time. You have a big percentage of children going from factories and the farms to a more of an educational setting. So this way of examining children were by far the easiest and quickest way to get results for educators. Now we're going to focus on some different types of standardized tests and how they've developed throughout the years. In 1905, a French psychologist by the name of Alfred Binet created the first IQ-based standardized test. Since it was the first of its kind, it revolutionized how psychologists and physicians actually developed an understanding of people's intelligence level from low to high. Another type of standardized test that was developed in World War I was designed to give servicemen specific jobs. So based on your score range would give your commanders an idea of where they should place you as far as job opportunities. The SAT and ACT are two of the most widely used standardized tests to date. The SAT was developed in 1926. The original test was 90 minutes and it consisted of 315 questions. Now, over time, these questions evolved, became more difficult, and also was implemented with a written and a verbal part to it. In 1959, an Iowa professor by the name of Everett Franklin developed the ACT. Now, the ACT would be an opponent of the SAT, kind of comparing or contrasting the SAT and ACT. The SAT is geared towards more logical thinking, and the ACT is considered more of an accumulated knowledge of what one has learned throughout the educational endeavor. So now I want to turn our attention to some of the standardized tests that have been used here in the state of Georgia. There's been a variety of tests over the years that we've used. You've had your ITBS test, your CRCT test, both which were multiple choice based tests throughout your core academics of math, science, social studies, ELA, and reading. However, as of last year, Georgia implemented the Georgia Milestone Test. This test is a lot more rigorous, and we're still, as educators, trying to tackle it. There is an involving writing section for math and ELA now with short responses and critical responses. This test is designed for 3 through 8, almost as a promotion to the next grade. So this is starting to be a challenge for many of the students and educators alike, because we're trying to grasp how exactly to teach this test and get these kids to pass such a rigorous obstacle in their educational careers, because this test is comparing us to other states who have kind of soared in education for many years. So the big thing with standardized testing is its pros and its cons. My personal opinion, I think that standardized testing is an unfair way to prepare students' educational knowledge of a subject. But for this, I wanted to be unbiased and give you pros and cons and see kind of how they outweigh each other. One of the pros is that standardized testing does hold teachers and schools accountable to ensure that there is some academic growth with each individual child. Another pro is that standardized testing does give a parent some type of understanding of where their child falls educationally compared to students in their area, region, district, state, and comparatively nationally. Another pro to standardized testing is that the tests are based off a certain set of standards that educators are supposed to teach throughout the year. So if you're teaching Native American 8th grade Georgia history, then there will be some type of a question to see if your child has actually developed knowledge on that particular subject area. There are several cons to standardized testing. Standardized tests do not take into consideration the type of student that is being tested. They don't consider their background information such as demographics. They also don't consider things such as what is their reading level on, what is their mathematics level on. Standardized tests are also an unbiased type of a way to depict a student's IQ level. Another issue with standardized testing are some kids just don't test well. So you may have a kid that is highly educated, but when they see a test format, they freeze and they shake up. This was standardized testing in a nutshell. I discussed a brief history, different types of standardized tests, and a little bit of pros and cons of standardized testing. But I'd really like to know what your opinion is